Hello, Marvelites! You're watching Marvel's The Pull List, and I'm Ryan, aka Agent M.
And I'm Tucker Marcus.
And every week we read all the new Marvel comics that come out. We pick a bunch of them, we pick a topic around them to tell you why we're so hyped for them. Tucker, what are we talking about this week?
This week, it's a somber mood because we're talking about the casualties of war. We have 4 issues here where there's a lot of emotional, intense action, really beautiful storytelling across the board though. And we're starting with a big one. We're starting with War of the Realms number 2. This is the second issue of the massive universe-wide event. And this is the issue where we continue to see our heroes completely unprepared, totally on the back foot, trying their best to counterattack Malekith and his forces. But this is where we really start to see the effects of this massive battle. To see Russell Dauterman's art alongside Matt Wilson's colors all together here, it just presents it in such a beautiful way, and it captures that emotion that is so beautifully woven in here by Jason Aaron. It's an amazing issue.
But there's a lot more to talk about for War of the Realms, including War of the Realms War Scrolls. Number 1, not scrolls like the shape changing with the cool chin business. No, scrolls like, oh, hello, I'm reading a scroll. With this, we're getting 4 stories in this issue. One of them being a really cool Daredevil story. I think Jason Aaron, the writer, had said that he hadn't really written Daredevil much or at all until doing this. So we get an actual Jason Aaron Daredevil story with Andrea Sorrentino of Daredevil getting, not even so much getting the power that he's going to have through most of War of the Realms, which we will see, but how he uses it, what that means, how he becomes the god without fear. And it's really, really cool. It's him protecting a church against frost giants. There's a Warriors 4 story, which has Fandral and Volstagg and the crew trying to make it through a war-torn city. We have a Wolverine Punisher story, which they have such a great dynamic. And of course, wouldn't be complete without a Howard the Duck story. He's got to get paid even in the midst of chaos and calamity. It's really, really cool. Very fun. Glad to have the Howard the Duck team of Joe Quinones and Chip Zdarsky and them come back together to tell a fun story.
It's the best.
But you still have to talk about Chip.
That's right, because Chip wrote SpiderMan Life story number 2, the 1970s, alongside with an amazing creative team, including Mark Bagley, Andrew Hennessy, Frank D'Armata. This continues the linear story of Spider-Man's life. We started issue number 1 in the 60s. It's really amazing to see the tone of this era brought out in this story, because it was a difficult time for the country, and it's a really difficult time here for Peter Parker and pretty much everyone around him. There's a casualty in this story that affects everyone in kind of Peter Parker's circle. So we see how he interacts with Harry Osborn. We see how his relationship with Gwen Stacy is impacted. We see how his relationship with Mary Jane is impacted. There is so much to analyze here and to dig into. There's so many emotional scenes. It's so beautifully told. But we also have some awesome Goblin action here.
Thinking about, he's 30 years old in this. It's 1977. That means he was born in 47, which blew my mind. But yeah, it all makes sense. And then, you know, like what he's going to have to go through going forward. Man, so good. Also so good is Spiderman City at War number 2, and this is the sort of adaptation of Marvel's Spider-Man for PlayStation 4, that video game. And I say sort of because they add so much. It's, yeah, they are adapting the story, but they are just adding really cool things. We get to see Swarm, the Nazi made of bees, as J. Jonah Jameson would say. We get to see lots of Miles Morales stuff. Even the Swarm stuff is really neat, because in the back matter for this issue, they tell you like why he is designed the way he is, the way he looks. And yes, there is a big casualty at the core of this. And if you know the game, you know the game story, you know what's coming here. We're gonna dive into that so much more on the podcast version of Marvel's The Pull List, which you can get wherever you subscribe to your audio. And then we'll be back with more next week. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Tucker.
And this is Marvel,
your universe.